When you hear about Huawei on the news these days, you hear the word backdoor a lot, but what is a backdoor really? It's really frustrating. A lot of people really love this word, but I find that the people who use it the most and they use it the loudest, they're not the ones who really understand technology all that well. They like it because it sounds scary. It catches attention. But the problem is, if you use the word backdoor for any cybersecurity threat as a catch-all term, it dumbs down the conversation while ignoring some pretty basic facts. Yes, backdoors are bad. So let's talk about them. What they are, what they do, and let's talk about other types of network doors too, because people tend to confuse them. There are 3 types. So the first type of backdoor is actually a front door. It's called Lawful Interception. As the name implies, these are legal doors for governments to intercept network communications, basically wiretapping. In most countries, operators are required by law to install these doors in their networks for law enforcement purposes. And it can be a good thing. Say there's a terror threat, or the FBI is building their case against a dangerous criminal. With proper legal authorization, usually a court order, Lawful Interception gives authorities access to the network communications and data traffic of that criminal. This type of access is all above board, or at least it should be. In almost every country around the world, including the US, governments require operators to install these type of access points should the need arise. This brings me to a major point: transparency. From a cybersecurity perspective, a true backdoor is hidden and used for unauthorized access. The existence of lawful interception is completely transparent and authorized. There are public standards for it, it's no secret. There's an organization called 3GPP. They're the international standards organization that sets all the technical standards for network communications and network equipment, and the specifications are right up on their website. So if law enforcement gets a court order to use the front door, who uses the back? Sometimes service providers are given special access to the network. But this isn't backdoor access because it's authorized and known. This second type of door is more like a workman's entrance. It's used to set up, maintain, upgrade, and repair the network, a service door. You know, telecom operators in the US are legally required to meet a reliability standard called the 5 nines. That means the network has to be up and running 99.999% of the time. That's a pretty high standard. To meet it, when a network needs maintenance, the operators give equipment vendors like Huawei special, one-time, limited access to the service door. This is only done with the permission of the operator and under very strict oversight, so it's transparent. We have specially configured laptops that log every keystroke our engineers make, so there's a record of everything we do while we're maintaining the network. The use of these service doors is very, very strictly monitored, and they have their own special ways of detecting any funny business. Now for the third type, the real sneaky backdoor. This is the true meaning of the term. A vulnerability installed either on purpose or by accident that can be exploited by bad actors. They aren't really at the back of the network. They could be anywhere and take any size or any shape. Edward Snowden blew the whistle on this type of backdoor back in 2013 when he revealed that the US National Security Agency pressures some companies to install vulnerabilities in their products. These backdoors allow the NSA to circumvent security protocols and get access to otherwise private information. So, does Huawei install these? Hell no. Take all that noise that you hear in the news and put it aside for a second. Think about this. The security of our products is our bread and butter. If anyone ever found a malicious backdoor in our equipment, every single carrier in the world would drop us in a heartbeat. This company that we spent 30 years building, pouring our hearts in it, our souls in it, that supports the lives of 194,000 employees and their families around the world, would be gone overnight, forever. We wouldn't risk that. But you don't have to take our word for it. For the past 8 years, Huawei has provided its hardware and software to the National Cybersecurity Center in the UK for really in-depth inspection. The National Cybersecurity Center is where you're going to find the top cybersecurity experts in the UK, if not the world. They answer to the GCHQ, which is basically the UK equivalent of the NSA. They take Huawei's technology and rip it down to the bones, and they perform physical checks of the hardware and digital checks of the software. They go through our code line by line, bit by bit, looking for any evidence of vulnerabilities. And guess what? They have found areas where we need to improve our engineering processes. But at the same time, the best cybersecurity experts in the UK have concluded that there's no evidence of malicious backdoors or state interference in Huawei equipment. This is publicly available information. And then on the customer side, before they install our equipment on the network, they test it extensively. And then once everything's up and running, they scan it continuously to make sure that there's nothing suspicious going on. Look, in the past 30 years, no one has ever found a single amount of evidence that Huawei has ever installed a malicious backdoor in its equipment. Literally not even once. It's really good that people are talking about cybersecurity, but we need to be clear about what we're talking about, and honest too. Because if we use our words too loosely, it makes it really hard to agree about what a secure, strong network should be. So the next time you hear somebody throwing these words around and it feels like they're trying to ramp up a little bit of fear, why not push back a little? Ask them, what do you mean by backdoor?